Welcome to Landscape of Mothers. On this channel, I talk a lot about healing, right? That when we get to a place where we realize that we didn't get everything we needed from our childhood in terms of skills and tools and good relational concepts or mechanisms, we may realize that we have to go back and take care of some things and learn some skills that we didn't receive. And I think it's one thing to think about the skills that we missed, right? Like, I didn't learn how to navigate conflict. I didn't learn how to apologize. I didn't learn how to communicate something clearly. I didn't know how to let someone know that I was having big feelings without it being a drama thing, right? And hopefully, ideally, and some people apparently do. I don't know who those people are, but apparently some people aren't wounded by their parents and receive those kinds of pieces of information. Their parents practice good communication. They practice apologies. They practice navigating difference. They practice all these things. And if we didn't get these skills, we figure we have to go get them. But there's another piece of that. In fact, we do have to go learn those skills. There's also an unlearning that happens kind of at the same time and often in conjunction with learning things. But I think it's an unnamed battle that we often have where we're trying to learn a skill. And if we're not cognizant that we're also unlearning some other skills, sometimes those just end up in conflict and we can take the thought away. We can cognitively understand. I did this when I was first introduced to nonviolent communication. I understood the concept, but because I didn't understand that I was also unlearning these other pieces, when I went home and tried to practice, I often found myself not able to do it, and that my nervous system would still have all of these big responses, that I would get dysregulated, and then I didn't have access to any of the things that I had learned cognitively, and so I would just kind of repeat my old ways and my old mechanisms for trying to communicate when I didn't feel like I was being heard and things. So in retrospect, I think it might have been helpful to know that I was also unlearning some things, and that more actively being willing to unhook from those may have helped me better access the new learning that I was doing. I think when we learn a new concept or a new way of relating, and then we're going to try to do it, often we try to gather up like scripts and stuff. I know I did, because I didn't even know what words to use. And so like you gather up your little scripts and you try to do your thing, and they fall apart almost instantly because like the other things aren't in place. And part of it is because that old learning is still is being activated and is still trying to express itself. And in the meantime, your brain is trying to remember what the script was, and none of that feels accessible at that moment. And somebody else is moving through their stuff faster than you're able to do this like translation thing. And so I think just knowing that learning, unlearning happens together better describes how much effort it takes to do it. And also it better describes what's actually happening, so that it might be a little bit easier to stay regulated and have access to the cognitive learning, the new script, the new idea, the trying to perceive the other person with you differently so that you can try to meet them in their humanity or in their needs if they're children and whatever. So your ability to do that is going to depend on how you're holding what you're up to. And so I don't know if it's helpful for you. In retrospect, I wish I had known that. I wish I had known that at the time that I was learning a new way of being with my children and talking to them, that I was also unlearning some deeply embedded old ways of being that were being activated in opposition to what I was trying to do. That old habits were in the way of the new intention. So I know it doesn't solve the problem, but I'm hoping that helps. Sometimes if I can better identify exactly where I am at in a process, it really helps me to stay more present to where I am in that process. Okay, hope that helps.